Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Raya's Wellness Podcast. So grateful to have your support and have you join us on this journey of soulful conversations, of all things intuitive retreats, photography, nature lovers, all the things. Stay tuned for the next episodes coming up. And to keep us going and keep us inspired, please take the time to share the episode, to go over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give us a rating. This is how we get out there. And if you're on YouTube, please share it with your friends and invite them to join the channel. Have the most amazing day, and don't forget to take your time to have some space in nature, get some sunshine, and heck, kick your shoes off and go bare feet and enjoy the beautiful grounding, earthing benefits of nature. Till next time, take care and have fun. Welcome everybody to Raya's Wellness Podcast. It's amazing to be here again. This is one of my favorite spaces to hang out and to just have amazing people that I get to chat with and have conversations with, and they get to share their knowledge and their journey with us. And so today I have Jenny Pelletier from Kitimat. She is originally from Quebec, and she is here in the northern part of BC, bringing her magic to helping all kinds of people. So she's a holistic nutritionist, and she's been kind of in her own yoga practice for about 15 years and a yoga teacher for 13. And so she's really working on connecting the two approaches, the nutrition and the movement, the yoga, together in that holistic health lens, which is really important to work with the whole mind, the body, and the spirit or the soul. And her intention is to really support people through the healing journey by combining all of this knowledge and experience, life experience, movement, breath, all of these beautiful things. So this is how she offers guidance. And, through all of the yoga teachings and through the different modalities, it really helping people with their general health, and the really importance on that intestinal health, and working with the perimenopausal, menopausal, and postmenopausal women with that hormonal health, which is huge. The knowledge is out there. It's becoming a bigger thing. There's a lot more. It's not pushed away and shoved aside anymore, where it's coming to the forefront, and we're really wanting to support women in this transition. And I love that, because I am kind of at the end of my perimenopause journey. So it's great to have more support and knowledge and a safe place to be. So, and then one of the other things, and I think we'll tap into this a little bit in our conversation, but the importance of practice, and that self-care. So that journey that we're on, and importance of having that ritual, that daily practice, that daily nurturing of our whole being, and how that can really help us to heal and nurture ourselves. So what I want to do is just kind of, dive into how everything changes, how our bodies are changing. We're reconnecting to ourselves in a new way. And we're on this, transformational journey through all of these beautiful modalities that she offers, plus, the modality of nature. And we're both very deeply connected to nature, the seasons, the elements, and the importance of spending time every day amongst the beautiful spaces we have. So welcome, thank you, and let us know a little bit more about how you got to where you are and the magic that you're sharing, because you're doing a lot of amazing things out there. So
Oh, what an honor to be here and having this conversation with you, Raya. Thank you for this introduction. Um, well, everything I teach and I share is something I do practice on a daily basis. So I think you were right saying, like, I like to call my work like misaligned. This is my word, because practice entails that you are making every day based on what you are practicing. So awareness, mindfulness, maybe questioning your belief, your values.
Yeah.
It's not about the mastery, because we are in an era where expertise in the name of science. Like there's a lot of wording that imposes or influences our way of sense or perfection.
Mm-hmm.
A daily practice in the Buddhist philosophy, it is an opportunity to be mindful every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be a spiritual practice, but it can be already shop for food, how the food makes you feel. Like there are physical that you can feel that not digesting this food very well within an hour of ingestion. And when I teach yoga, this is what I teach. How do you feel in the posture? It's never about how it looks,
Mm-hmm.
it's about how it feels. And through experiencing, that's why I use my yoga practice as a bridge with my nutrition practice. Because if the physical sensation, let's say you're in a warrior two position, that your hips is impinging a little bit, and you kind of have to shuffle your feet wider, then you are practicing being aware of your physicality, and you are on your personal experience, not just making decisions based on someone else's expertise
Yeah.
on how you should be doing a warrior two. Makes sense.
So is that
If it
that's you're using your own intuition and awareness and experience, but then you're teaching people how to really it's almost coming back to themselves and trusting that their body, like you said, if you eat something that is not aligned with you, your body's going to tell you, but we often don't listen. And why do you think that, we get stuck in these places where we don't listen and we're just used to feeling like junk?
well, uh, there's a few. It's a complex web
Yeah.
because there are beliefs. There are also your environment. We are a product of our environment. We are an echo. So every system in our are not working in isolation.
Hmm.
Just like every species in nature, fungi, trees, mammals, they're all ecosystem that wants to be in balance. So is the body. So if we believe
Hmm.
that certain foods are good for you, so I'm going to keep eating them,
Hmm.
uh, but they are allergens, and you have some physical signs. But some people sometimes they don't know what those physical signs like cravings. Craving is a physical manifestation that you're not satisfied, that your last meal was not satisfying to you. And most of the time, it's going to be that salt, fat, or sugar was missing. So that's just a really direct, but if you haven't never been explained what craving is or how it can be manifested or how you can mitigate it, which is what I'm so passionate about,
Hmm.
you then don't know. Because if you don't know something, then how can you act upon it? So as you lift the veil of ignorance, then now you can't unknown, right?
Yeah.
And social environment. So if you're sharing a meal with people or in a specific setting
Hmm.
that's conducive to to be healing to you, I mean, this is again, it's individualized, it's a big conversation, but your environment influences as well your food choices.
Yeah. And I think, it's fair enough to say you don't know what you don't know, and that's okay. There's no, that's why we're here to help people to, give them some information and show them that there's so many ways. It's like when you go to a bookstore or library, there's so many books, but what fits you as an individual is unique. And because all of our makeups are different, we're both women, but that doesn't mean that our hormones are the same. We've had the same life experience, we have the same emotional experience. Like you said, we're made so different. And so to find, we can't all be on the plant-based diet or the carnivore diet or any of those things because we're not made the same. Just like when you walk into nature, look at all the species and the types of trees and the mosses and mushrooms and grasses, and it all supports one another, but they all need different nutrients and different things to be able to thrive. So I think that's kind of an interesting piece to combine the lessons and the understanding of nature, and also that in nature we're going home to ourselves in a very energetic kind of spiritual way as well. And really being able to, it's such a beautiful, holistic lens. We can kind of zoom out and look at ourselves and look at all the little pieces that are in there, and be willing to show up and say, like, I don't really want to feel like this, and I really don't know, and it's okay not to know. So if somebody, like, do you find that the yoga practice and the nutrition really go beautifully together? Like somebody just beginning yoga and just understanding the basic movement and the importance in the body, and as they start to learn how helpful that movement and it's almost like I want to say stretching, but it's not the word I'm looking for, but it's just you're expanding a little bit again, because you come and you're tight and you've been a warrior, you've been holding on to a lot of stuff for a long time. And as you start a new practice, you start to open up again. So do you find that works really side by side with the nutrition piece too?
The more I practice, the more I one of my favorite expression in English is growing old. So the more I grow, um, they
Mhm.
are interconnected. I can't do, because yoga means connection. Connection is primary value, and um, the trap that we all fall in
Mhm.
is the the trap of quick result.
Yes.
We can we can maybe the medical industry, like the pharmaceutical industry, maybe the medical support you can have, like there's
Mhm.
all sorts of supplement industry. There's so many ways, and we are also bombarded with a lot of information. Our attention span
Mhm.
is now reduced. We are over informed from external sources, not necessarily informed from our internal source.
Yeah.
Me, the practice of yoga, let's say if I see someone, there's people that have the privilege to practice with for 3 years in kinemats, and started my practice here. And I have grown too over those 3 years. And when I teach and talk, I like the nervous system, and then the nervous system is directly connected to the digestive system, which is directly connected to the immune.
Yeah.
So you if we are about 80% unconscious as human beings, so that means we are wired by habits, beliefs, and we sometimes do things that, hey, it was my dad who taught me that. It's not even my own, you
Mhm.
know, way of thinking. And then sometimes you get the opportunity to like reframe. So
Yeah.
yoga. So if you do practice this, it slowly grows in you and manifests. And next thing you know, you're at the grocery store and you make different food choices. It
Mhm.
just comes a little more natural, because to kind of go back towards the interconnectedness with nature and the interconnectedness with our inner nature, we have to acknowledge that these transformations and adaptation that happens every day are also a slow process. It
Mhm.
is not for a species to be endangered and over years, right? So
Mhm.
same, and to the same thing, to replenish or to bring back balance into nature. If there's trees were cut for for to replant those trees and regrow forests, it takes a long time. Same if you've had, let's say, leaky guts, if you've had rounds of antibiotics, and then you replenish your, it will take a little while. But it might take a shorter time for you to heal
Mhm.
compared to all the time that you didn't realize that a dysbiosis or a dysregulation of your body was taking place, because everything is slow. Like, you just don't get cancer overnight. You don't just get like a big bomb at diagnosis overnight.
Yeah.
This is our body constantly ever changing and evolving. So bringing the connection with a yoga practice, which expands, let's say those people I meet every week, but everybody has a yoga practice every day in a form and another. They just sometimes are not realizing it. Going in nature, connecting with what you see and how you feel
Mm.
to, because it's stressful events that you get bombarded all the time. Those are a daily practice.
Yeah.
So,
I think, and I think that's where we get stuck in our minds, is that, like you said, there's just we're just being bombarded by so much, and we don't realize that until we really want to strip away some of that stuff and be very super present and self-aware and go like, how did I get here? How, wow, I was doing things that were a practice and I didn't realize it, but I was rushing through them. I was, not as intentional. And I think that's just, we're, as a society, I find, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit, people are exhausted and they're burnt out, and there's a lot going on in the world, and it's very easy to want to go down, these pathways and be drawn into stuff when we know in our hearts and in our gut that it's not where we want to be. We want to come back to, less noise, less busy. We really want to nurture ourselves. And I find, too, a lot of women, as they are in that perimenopause to menopause journey, it is not an easy journey for some. It can be one heck of a ride. And I will say that for myself, my own experience. But it is also a time that I have found, witnessing around me and also within myself, that it's like a coming home, and it's this wise wisdom. It's like this really wise version of myself, and I've watched this in others of themselves. People, it's she's waiting for this kind of this bumpy road and this knowledge and this all this stuff that's going on. It's like, okay, you got to get through this. You're going to find the answers, and I'm going to be waiting here, and I'm holding space for you to get to this point. And you meet people along the way that kind of help with that. There's so much more education and awareness and permission to try some of
mm,
these newer things, permission to slow down. And I think some people get hit really hard with it because they're not listening, and we are all different anyways hormonally, but sometimes it's like that wall comes up really hard because we haven't been listening to the little nuggets of information that our body has been trying to tell us. If you've never had anxiety and you all of a sudden have debilitating anxiety and you can't even go outside, what is that? Or, you feel like you're 100 years old because your body hurts so much, the bones and the muscles, and you just can't sleep. So now you're tired, you've got anxiety, and everything hurts, right? And it's a lot. And you think there's something wrong with you because we're taught there's always something wrong with us. So what do you, when somebody comes and says, like, Jeannie, there's something wrong with me. I've got this, 42 symptoms, and I'm literally ready to jump off a cliff. I can't handle this anymore. Like, what do I do? That's extreme,
well,
maybe. But
you pick. Well, that's a good question. And my intuition is to say alone.
yeah.
As women, and I am not a mother, I keep saying in my practice, I care for others. I've been, um, and being a mother. So it depends on your belief, like I said earlier, and your story. We all have stories.
Mm-hmm.
Are you dealing with everything on your own? Are you never asking for help?
Mm-hmm.
Are you quick to shame and guilt? Because women are quick towards shame and guilt.
Yes.
Might not admit it to ourselves, listen, like you said, but honestly, if nobody has ever either meant to listen or either explained to you
Mm-hmm.
what words, who can listen,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you don't know what those signals are. Like it is because I don't know if you know Lisa Mosconi. She's a amazing. Oh, maybe I talk the first time we met. I talked about it in a
Mm-hmm.
yoga retreat, but scientist, and she does a lot of research on brain and perimenopausal women and
Yes.
Alzheimer's research as well.
All right. Um, so kind of back to that, the story that we all have, the beliefs we all have, as women, we're always doing all the things. And we're afraid to ask for help sometimes because we feel like we've got to carry this, this big armor around. We got to be all things and do all things. And I feel like, when people land in your space, they just can't do all things anymore.
Um, and that's true. And I like
Hmm.
to approach this by connecting to the body, because if
Hmm.
we talk in towards emotions or sometimes more maybe abstract, um, I don't know, ways, we connect. We're like, yes, I get it. I want to connect,
Hmm.
interconnectedness, to great something greater than me. But when we go back towards the physicality,
Hmm.
like how do you feel in your body? How is your and then I think that's very important when you have this rewiring of your brain. Let's say if we talk about perimenopause.
Hmm.
So we have hormonal fluctuation first, explaining what those are. So as soon as you talk about physical, and you kind of bring this to the third brain, which is the connective, the it's called the cerebral cortex or the rational brain. There's something
Yeah.
that becomes a little more clear and less abstract. Okay, so let's say we talk about this, those face sensation. Here's what's happening, and
Hmm.
using food as medicine, using because there's a whole shift into often our digestive system.
Yeah.
So if you feel those sensations into also the liver health. So I do accompany women towards it. So let's say we just look at your lifestyle and your nutrition and how can we tweak. Those
Hmm.
are very important. And then after your movement practice and then your stress reduction practice. So which can be meditation, dry brushing, hot bath.
Hmm.
There's also different aspect that will be personal to every woman. But every time I've had a consultations or peri talks or workshop, all these that I just enumerated here were relevant piece of inquiry
Hmm.
for the given woman who had symptoms. And
Yeah.
those are tangible things you can do. And then you have to also, as women, we have to understand that there's no quick fix. I mean,
No.
everybody in the whole world, there's no quick fix. There's no
No.
magic pill. It is a practice. It is a process, and it is an act of love to oneself to engage in
Yes.
this process daily. And we
Yeah.
totally underestimate the power of love for oneself. And women out there, they put themselves last most of the time. And
Yeah.
I honor you, mother. I honor you, women. There's nothing wrong or to be shameful about. But let's just bring this to consciousness and give
Hmm.
yourself permission every day at your own pace to kind of meditate into this question: self love. Can I put this boundary? Like putting boundaries is an act
Hmm.
of self love. Saying, you know what? I'm in my luteal phase, second half of my cycle. I need a little more rest. I'm going to say no to go out tonight because inside I'm like, I just want to lift my feet up and read a book. I'm not
Yeah.
going to say yes because I need to be faithful to the first part of my cycle when I was more outgoing and ready to go and feeling
Yeah.
guilty because, hey, I'm not consistent. You don't have to be consistent,
Yeah.
uh, meaning regarding anybody external, anything external to you, but you need to be, I think we deserve to be consistent towards self love towards us. So, and that is a daily practice. And you don't have to tell anybody if you're not comfortable and people are going to think, woo, woo, woo. Like also choose who you are
Mm.
adding into your surrounding. Like,
It
who's
makes a big
close to
difference.
you,
Yeah.
right?
It's
Yeah,
huge, right? Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Well, and I think, what's really interesting too, because you're doing, the all of these groups and consultations and we'll be doing a retreat together as well. And I think one of the biggest common themes that is coming up and has been coming up for a long time in my work too is the importance of gathering with like-minded people, but also feeling that safety to be seen and heard and validated. Like these experiences are very valid, they're real, and they're in everyone's lives. And I think that, when we can enter a space where there's so much care and intention put around safety and nurturing, and just like you said, that love, and as practitioners, as guides, as healers, we hold this most intentional space, that is just sacred for people to be able to be there and to let those walls slowly come down, let those expectations, starting to learn to leave them at the door, surrounding ourselves. And very often I see women in their transformational journey, especially at retreat, because they're so powerful, is that, they didn't know what they knew they needed something, so they signed up. But when they came, they had no idea what they were going to experience on their own depths of themselves, and the gifts that they were going home with. So they're learning all the things that we're talking about in, your practice and my practice and life in general. They're coming into this space and they're taking away so much, and we are just the holders of the energy, of the knowledge, of the experience of what we've had. And if we can share one or two things, and someone is like, you just changed my life by giving me permission or telling me there's another way, right? And do you find that people they're seeking balance, they're seeking something new, they're seeking just maybe not 50 tools, but one or two that they can slowly, like you said, it's over time. It's not like the quick fix, because that's what we're taught out there. Everything's a quick fix. There's a pill for this and a pill for that, and you got to do this and you got to do that. But and we know that that's not right, but it just is where we've been led, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, you know, um yeah, it's an interesting piece, because it is pieces of a puzzle, so there are lots of things, but we don't have to sit down and look at that 2,000 piece puzzle and go, okay, well, we better solve this in an hour. Like, you can't do that, right? And so what do you think? Like, you do your talks and we're doing a retreat together, so where you're bringing yoga and nutrition, and you're doing some little workshops. And what is it you find when you really extend that time and you bring this people into this container? What is it that you really notice in people when they come into these spaces and they're receiving this knowledge and being where they're safe?
Um, Beautiful question, because I feel very honored. I bring conversation.
Hmm.
I notice that I also bring validation.
Yeah.
The women, the men too, because I do teach health conferences in Kitimat, that I like to open the conversation to broader audience. And then during the Perry talk as well, I see validation, because what I say, because usually those people that come to those events or even book consultations with me, there's already something awakened in them, this awareness. I mean, like, intelligent, mindful people that are on the journey. So I tend to validate a lot of
Yeah.
things that they already know, but
Yeah.
didn't see as important as it is. Because
Yeah.
when we are in our own skin, in our own, we kind of get used to us and we don't give it much credit.
Hmm.
And so conversation, validation, and there's always questions, because it is confusing out there with
Yeah.
access to so much information. And I'm a regular human. I do consume a lot of content, and I have to bring myself back and apply those principles to myself. Like, hey, don't urge to sign up for this training. Like, we always tend to maybe think that we're lacking something. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
I love continued education. I think we need to constantly be learning. But again, this is that fine balance,
Hmm.
because where do you put your money? Like, I talk a lot about this too. Where do you put your money? What is meaningful to you? And that's why I do a lot of group teachings, because sometimes it's more affordable.
Hmm.
And also we learn so well when we are connected with others,
Yes.
because too often we think that we have to do it all by ourselves. So having a community, having an accountability buddy, if you want to start swimming or if you want to start doing something or a project, who's your
Mhm.
accountability buddy? And that is so helpful. So
Yes.
that is something that I realized in those talks, that not feeling alone, feeling heard, feeling like, oh my God. And then you meet other people that are like-minded in those
Yeah.
communities. So, and, and also further education. Like on my website, there's under resources, there's a bunch of free resources and education, though, so you
Mhm.
can access also without breaking the bank, but then
Yeah.
also utilizing principles of like connecting to yourself and your own intelligence. Like intuition is also based on our past experience.
Mhm.
You know, there is this, yeah, this gut feeling, but also on our am I walking into the same hole that I dug myself 2 years ago? Or am
Yeah.
I, feeling like, hey, take a step back, fill up the hole,
Mhm.
look up instead of looking down? Can you shift
Yeah.
your perspective out of your past experience? So there's also this accessibility to our
Mhm.
own power, I guess.
Yes. And I think, I was just thinking about even affordability. I mean, we are so quick to um, invest in a lot of things outside of ourselves and for others and all of those things. And, it's also an energetic exchange. When you realize you see this, big event or retreat or this group or, the consultations, and it's like, how do you value yourself and how do you value your holistic wellness and what does that look like? And I mean, there's always ways to make things happen. There's flexibility, there's plans, there's all kinds of things. And I know it can be scary too, because you're like, oh, but I'm just so drawn. Like I am being pulled by something bigger than myself to go and be in this group or learn this thing or take this course. And sometimes you have to trust that and then trust that those other pieces will fall into place, you know um and it's been interesting to see that because I see that in, people that come to do one-on-ones with me or they come to the groups and retreats. It's like, oh, I don't know, that's a big thing. And I'm like, well, what in your life are you willing to, kind of shift around and play with? And are you, are you a good manifestor? Are you able to trust? Are you willing to invest something in yourself that is, we can all go sit on a beach in Mexico and drink margaritas, but do we have a deep purpose? And this is where, a vacation with a purpose. It's this deep transformational journey that continues on and on. And you've got this community, you've got a soul tribe, you've got these new resources because you meet people. I mean, we met in retreat, and now we get to work together and we get to learn from each other and support one another and empower one another. And so when you realize those values that come through the retreats or come through the events or groups, you can't even put a dollar value to that. It's life changing, and you have that family for life. That's your chosen family. That is your, energetic space where you can land and you can be, really empowered and inspired. So, um, if people are looking to find you, I know you do lives and you're on the socials and things, like what is the easiest way for people to find the work that you do and to be able to reach out to you?
Oh, I like what you just said, everything you said. And ditto to that. So JanniePetier.com is my website. It's very, I think it's simple to navigate. You're going to
Okay.
find a lot of information. There's going to be health conferences live in Kitimat in March and April, Perry Talks in Evolve Studio in Terrace in March and April, and
Okay.
consultations as well. I am on Facebook, not really on Instagram. That's where I'm at, and I do some live videos, or I also have
Yeah.
a Facebook group which is Jenny P Yoga Nutrition. Otherwise, it's
Cool.
Jenny Pelletier Yoga Nutrition on Facebook.
Okay.
Ask questions. My email is easy to find through my website, or direct message me on my social media on Facebook. And I
Okay.
do as well. I do group in person. I do live consultation. And if you're in my area, the in-person consultation are like grocery run or in-house.
Oh,
But
cool.
obviously,
I love
you
it.
gotta be in the same. Grocery stores is like a library of information to me. I love doing those. If you've never done that with a
Yeah.
nutritionist, whoa, next level.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of how you can find me. And there's a lot of free resources and meal ideas and meal plans on my website. So just
Yeah.
go dig in and give me some feedback if
Awesome.
you need more.
And we get to share space in Haida Gwaii at the end of August into the beginning of September. So we're going to be there together. You're coming to share your gifts, doing some yoga with us. And I'm hoping the weather is amazing so we can do it oceanfront outside. And you're also going to be bringing some of your knowledge that we just spoke about today with the nutrition and holistic lifestyle and practice. So you're going to teach us some of this stuff as well, and then having some sessions that are going to be available for people in your we'll get some little
Yeah.
pieces of time for you. So if somebody wants to sit down with you in person
Mm-hmm.
and they want to come to Haida Gwaii because it's magical and amazing over there, they will have the chance to book that with you for their stay with us at the retreat as well, right?
That is so exciting. I'm
Yeah,
beyond excited. Now,
yeah.
when people say, "Have you been to Haida Gwaii?" I was like, "No, but I'm on my way."
Right? I know. And it's funny because I've grown up in the north and I've never been to Haida Gwaii. We used to call it Queen Charlotte's back
Yes.
in the day. And I mean, it's just so incredible and amazing. And I've been drawn for so long. And all of a sudden, it just kind of dropped right into my space. And I went, I'm going. And I'm going to take a whole bunch of amazing people there. And we're going to do some deep healing and nurturing. And it's going to be an incredible transformational journey. And just to get there too is such a journey. You can take the beautiful ferry, which is, 8 hours, I heard. Um, and you can fly by float plane, which would be really amazing. Anyone from other parts of the province, it's a 2-hour flight from Vancouver, which is really nothing. And you get to fly over incredible territory to get there. It's beautiful, beautiful, lots of mountains and amazing stuff. And yeah, and it's just a place that holds such a sacred, incredible healing energy. And we get to explore the magic of the ocean and nature and all the things. We can go collect as many rocks on the beaches as we want. So, anyways, yeah, so I'm just excited to have you join on that journey and just to go more in depth of the things that we were talking about today. We'll have the chance to be really intimate in the group and in circles and in practices, and we'll be able to fill people's toolkits.
I can't wait to share this with you and all the beautiful people that will join
Yeah.
in.
So, and if people have questions, they're welcome to reach out to yourself
Oh, yeah.
or me, and I'll make sure, of course, to leave all the information to find us both and to connect if you've found any of the information today valuable. And do you have anything, any inspiration, any tidbit of information of anyone who is seeking more, something to leave them with today?
I've been reflecting a lot about values, like nutrition values, food values. When you choose to eat a meal, when you shop for food, what are your values? What does that nourishment has to
Mhm.
be about? And it can apply to other aspect of your life, but what's your
Mhm.
values? So if I have a meal, my values that has to be building something inside it, has to be healing, has to be um medicine. My
Yeah.
other value is like it has to be flavorful and it has to be beautiful, like colors and then flavors and my
Yeah.
senses. So I would say people like explore what are your values. Have you ever done a work or an inquire about what's your value? And sometimes it can bring more depth and clarity into the choices we make, into how our practice is applied every day.
Ah, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you so very much for taking time just to hang out today and to share all of this information with people. And I think it's really important that, with our gifts and with the work that we do is to really share it out there so we can help people. The podcast is a great way for people to, like you said, go on a walk and listen, drive in the vehicle and have a good listen and learn something while they're going somewhere, right? And so that's why I do what I do. And anyway, thank you so much for today. It's been absolutely amazing.
Oh, the pleasure was mine. Thank you so much for sharing your gift, Rhea.
You bet. Hi there, this is Raya Karen with Raya's Wellness Podcast. It is so amazing to have you in this beautiful space. I am a retreat host inspired by the four seasons of nature and the five elements. We travel across the beautiful province of British Columbia, Canada, and find the most amazing healing oases amongst the mountains, by the ocean, in the vast wilderness, by rivers and lakes, grasslands, and so much more. We spend time healing in nature, inspired by the natural rhythms of nature that is within us and within nature. It is amazing to have beautiful, wonderful guests here on my podcast, and we get to share space with you. I'm also a published author. I am a mom of two beautiful daughters. I'm a Northern Canadian gal, and I am just a lover of all things life. I lead with my heart, and I am a healer of about 3 decades. I've worked in many different therapeutic spaces, and I had a vision of taking my work into my own private practice. So I also offer one-to-one intuitive coaching and counseling, and I all have the retreats. So I do half day, full day, weekend, and multi-day up to 5-day retreats this year. And these are really, really deep, transformative times and spaces that we have very carefully crafted and created for you to be. So join us on the podcast. Thank you for being here, and let's see what our next beautiful guest has in store for you. Also, at the end of the episode, if you get a chance, please like and share and rate us. This is how we get out there and how our messages get shared and how we reach the world around us. Much love, and thank you for tuning in.